Hey guys, welcome back to Combat 24/7, Episode 5. Joey Tyner here, joined by seasoned analyst Creighton Bauman. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Good. It was an interesting weekend for UFC MMA. So Friday we get the development that Gilbert Burns has tested positive for COVID-19. He's out of the main event for UFC 251, which is a huge fight. And then Saturday, we get reports, 4th of July, happy 4th of July, by the way. We get reports that Jorge Masvidal is in negotiations with Kamaru Usman. How confident were you that those negotiations would turn into an actual fight?
Um, I feel like kind of dealing with everything going on right now, and I think Dana was kind of at the point where he was going to pay, he was going to pay whatever it took to keep this card going, to have a big main event like that. And I think he knows that this lineup has a capability to sell big numbers. I think he just said, "Screw it, we'll pay him. We want to see a good fight. We set this whole thing up. We got to take advantage of it." So I don't think anyone's complaining. Worked out perfect.
No, not at all. And do you think this makes negotiations in the future for Masvidal easier, or do you think we'll find ourselves in the same position coming next fight?
I read that Masvidal just redid his contract completely. I don't know how legit that is. I honestly don't even recall where I read it, but they said that they renegotiated his entire deal so that going forward it should all be figured out, which I hope is the case. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even recall where I read that, so it might just be complete nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, hey, some good negotiating power when Gilbert Burns pulls out on 7 days' notice. So then Sunday we get the reports that it's official, both parties have agreed, and the only thing in the way is Jorge Masvidal passing a COVID-19 test, which he did, and now I believe he's on his way today, July 6th, to Abu Dhabi. That's an exciting main event, huh?
It is for sure. Um, yeah, I think Usman's flying out today too because they didn't have him fly out originally. So I mean, man, I hope everything goes well over there.
Yeah. So do you think when do you think we're in the clear? Because COVID-19 tests can still pop. So like we don't really know how many of these fights are actually going to make it to fight day. That's kind of the dangerous time. So what should we start counting our eggs the day of the fight?
Yeah. So from what I understand, I think they probably get another COVID test when they get in Abu Dhabi. Then I think there's another one after weigh-ins. Then I believe, at least in Vegas or Florida, it was you would get one the day before the fight, then you would get one like the night after the fight or the day you leave, and then you'd be in the clear to go home. But I don't know, kind of with Abu Dhabi and the Fight Island rules, I guess. I don't know what they have in store. I imagine that they'll definitely be on top of it. And I think it is inevitable that a fight or two probably isn't going to happen, which is unfortunate. But more importantly, rather see everyone healthy.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to me that they're fighting at that time. The card starts at 2 a.m. Abu Dhabi time. Main card at 6, and main event should go around 9, I believe, 9 a.m. So
Is that
that
for here or in there?
that's the time.
Okay,
So
that
like
makes sense.
that's pretty crazy that these prelim fighters are fighting at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Do you think that's going to play any impact, or do you think they're just like set? Do you think that's going to play an impact on anyone's fighting?
Um, I think it's gonna vary for everyone. I I I guess I'm not aware of what that time translates over here because if that were the case and maybe those odd times over there fall to or become like a normal daytime over here, then if anything, they might not even focus on being up at 2 in the morning or, you know, being up at 2 in the morning over there and they can just continue to follow the routine that they were on over here, regardless of the daytime over there. I don't know. That's probably a personal one. But yeah, like I said, I don't. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I know. I heard Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski are going to try to stay on their time zone. So like Alexander Volkanovski's waking up at like 4 a.m. every day and just kind of getting used to it. So that's interesting, you know. I'm thankful that I don't have to wake up at 2 a.m. to
Yeah.
watch the fights, but very interesting. So getting into UFC 251 main card, they couldn't have made this one more stacked, could they?
Oh, it's a treat for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Starting off the main card, we got Amanda Ebos and Paige Van Zant. Do you want to go ahead and break down what you think about this fight?
Yeah, I last time I checked, I think Amanda was like a 8.5 to 1 favorite or something. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm very confident that she should dominate her in all aspects, and I'm not the biggest fan of Paige Van Zandt by any means, but that's still seems kind of disrespectful. I mean, she's not. It's not like she's never fought before, or Amanda's, like this uh, Valentina Shevchenko like figure. I mean, she's obviously very talented and I think has promising future, but the 8.5 to 1 seems pretty odd. That
Yeah,
being, I do think that she should be able to, best her, whether it's on the feet or the ground.
yeah, I definitely think 8.5 to 1 is quite ridiculous. Certainly Amanda Ebos should be the favorite. She's won her last three, and Paige Van Zant has won two of her last five. So certainly Amanda Ebos should be the favorite. And I'm high on Amanda Ebos because she beat Mackenzie Dern, which I was very high on. So I think that goes Amanda Ebos's way. I think she wins by decision. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I could see that. I think decision. I was honestly kind of surprised that UFC put the match together, but I guess from what I understand, it's the last fight on Paige Van Zant's contract, and doesn't sound like she intends on re-signing. So that would be interesting. I don't know if they kind of already knew that, so they just decided to feed her to a young prospect to try and make a name out of her. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, either way, tough matchup. But I think Amanda should be the clear favorite.
Yeah, for sure. She's been very open how she thinks other promotions are going to pay her more money, and I think so too. I think she would actually get a nice chunk of change at Bellator, so where her husband fights. So that'd be very interesting to see. We'll see how it all plays out. So moving on, we got, of course, Jessica Andrade and Rose Namajunas. Very interesting first fight. Rose was dominating in every single facet, and then Jessica just picked her up and slammed her, and that was a gruesome slam. I was actually very concerned for her because she's got slammed on her neck. So, how do you see the second one kind of playing out?
Yeah, with Rose, I imagine she'll have Trevor Whitman in her corner. So I think they're gonna have a very well thought out game plan and kind of know what to avoid and what battles to pick and choose. Obviously, I feel like her last fight that was just a simple mistake. If she would have just tried to let go of that armbar and um, didn't get slammed, just instead willingly went to the ground, then I think she'd still be champ. She's super talented, and I don't see any reason why, unless she gets hit with a bomb from Andrade, because Andrade absolutely has that power. She has a very rare power for 115 pounders. But yeah, I think Rose should be able to touch her up on her feet, and as long as she picks the right battles and stays out of silly positions, I think she should be able to get the decision win.
Yeah, and I think the winner is definitely set up for a title shot. Um, Rose versus Weili Zhang, that'd be a very interesting
Yeah.
fight. But I don't know. I feel like also Jessica Andrade versus Weili Zhang too might be a tough sell due to the first fight, how dominant it was. So, but definitely if
Mm-hmm.
Rose wins, she's getting a title shot next. But I'm definitely excited for that fight. All these fights on the main card could definitely headline. Like these are awesome fights. Headline a fight night, not a pay per view. Let's get that.
Yeah.
Moving on to the first title fight, Piotr Jan, Jose Aldo. Some people are definitely counting out Jose Aldo, and I think they're nuts. I think, is going to be a closer fight than a lot of people think, and I think Jose Aldo definitely has a chance to get the title. What do you think?
I agree. This is gonna be a tough one for me because I'm obviously Aldo's one of my all-time favorites. He's a legend. still could be the featherweight GOAT. But at the same time, I really struggle to see anybody being able to beat Jan for a little while. I just think his striking and boxing is super crisp, and I think he's got crazy power. So far he's been able to keep everyone off him regarding grappling. I don't know. I'm curious to see how. Obviously, it was a little while ago, but I've seen a lot of pictures of them training together. And even if they have both evolved quite a bit, it's not uncommon that one fighter may go in with a specific kind of mindset, knowing like, oh, hey, I already got my butt whooped by him every day in training, or I put it on that guy every day in training for months. So I don't know. That could definitely play a part. I'd also be curious to see Aldo go 5 rounds at 135 with the weight change. I know obviously he's done it before, but that was a 3-round fight, and he's got to lose an additional pound this time. So it should be interesting. I hate to pick a winner just because, like I said, I'm huge fans of both of them, and I could honestly see either one of them getting their hand raised. But I don't know. It's hard to go against Jan for me. I would have to say Jan.
Yeah, I'm leaning Jan, but I think it's going to be an absolutely excellent fight. I don't see it going anything like Uriah Faber versus Peter Yan. I mean, Jose Aldo looked amazing at his 135 debut. Many people believe that he beat Marlon Rice. So I'm definitely excited for that fight. Just kind of, jumping off the rails real quick. Who do you think is next for 135 belt? We already know.
Yeah, that Aljamain unquestionably should be the next shot.
What a fight. Corey
Yeah.
Sandhagen versus Aljamain Sterling. What a performance.
I know. I feel like it gets slept on for Aljo because, when there's knockouts like Sean O'Malley and Cody Garbrandt, that's going to be what draws everyone's attention. But I mean, to jump on Corey Sandhagen and choke him out within 2 minutes, for number one contenders fight, basically, that's pretty legit. Obviously, on
coaches even
3-fight win streak or whatever. I'm sorry.
His coaches weren't even in his corner.
Yeah. No, he unquestionably is next. That'll be interesting though, because like I said, Jan and Aldo have both always been stellar at keeping people off him. Aldo's been taken down, but he's never really been held down. And Jan, to my knowledge, I don't recall him ever seeing really being taken down.
Yeah, definitely. So we're kind of leaning towards Piotr Jan, but rooting for Jose Aldo. Is that the conclusion we've made?
You could say that, but we can rock with that. Like I said, that's a tough one because I got a lot of respect for both guys, and I don't really want to go against either one of them. There's a lot of killers in 35 that I'd like to see succeed. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, I think Jan ends up taking it.
35 is ridiculously stacked, and so is 45 in my opinion. Moving on to the next fight, we got Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski 2. The first fight was actually very close in significant strikes, head strikes, like all that, but Alexander Volkanovski was able to land a significant amount of leg kicks, and I think that's kind of what won it for him. So how do you think this second fight plays out? This is the fight that I think is sort of the people's main event until you threw Masvidal in there. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. Never count Max out, obviously, but I don't know. To me, that first fight, I didn't really see how it was very close. I felt like Volkanovski controlled pretty much the whole fight. He was perfect with those leg kicks. And at City Kickboxing, that doesn't surprise me at all. Those guys are wizards and they know what they're doing. So I imagine they're gonna come in ready to go. And then I saw that Max was that he hadn't been with his coaches. So I'm curious to see how that, but he's also the same guy who said he learned some of his moves playing as Jose Aldo on the UFC game. So it's entirely possible that he made some old stuff come out.
He said he didn't do any sparring, and he did like coaching sessions over Zoom. I think that's crazy when you're going against a guy like Alexander Volkanovski, but it's the time we're in. But the difference is Alexander Volkanovski's in the gym putting in actual sparring sessions, and so honestly, I think Max is going to come out with a better game plan. But I think overall, Alexander Volkanovski is going to edge it because I think Alexander Volkanovski is going to be a champ for a while. That's just my personal opinion. He is super good, and I'm excited to see him versus one of the next contenders. Not counting Max out, but I think him versus like a guy like Zabit or Korean Zombie is a very interesting fight.
Yeah, that is for sure. I feel like he's super underrated just because he doesn't have, maybe the flashiest style like Zabit or Yair Rodriguez or a Max Holloway, but he's solid and he's got knockout power and he's insanely strong. But I'll play devil's advocate and I'll say that maybe these Zoom sessions were beneficial for Max, and I'm gonna say Max reclaims the throne.
Okay.
I think if he can avoid those leg kicks and find his rhythm, I have no question about his cardio or anything. I think maybe he gets his belt back.
All right. I'm willing to put a bet on that.
I am not.
No, it's going to be a great fight, a great co-main event, and it leads us into the biggest fight of the year. Jorge Masvidal versus Kamaru Usman. This fight has been a long time in the making. And do you think this short notice changes the fight at all, or do you think Jorge Masvidal has been training and is ready?
No, this is what, that's what his nickname came from, just being game for any opponent, anytime. Everyone knows the famous Kimbo story where he's, 20 years old at McDonald's, gets a phone call from Kimbo Slice. Next thing you know, he's fighting, bare knuckle fighting some dude in his backyard who's probably 30 pounds heavier than him. So no, I think, and he's, been seen training with guys with the likes of Bo Nickel, who, if people aren't aware, was one of the best college wrestlers the past few years, just very, very dominant. So if you spend as much time as you can with Bo Nickel, then absolutely your wrestling training is going to be right there. And I really think any amount of time this fight spends on the feet is going to be an issue for Usman, just because Masvidal's hands are lightning quick. There's no fat on him. If he could implement that body kick that he hit Nate Diaz with, that could definitely change the course of the fight. But yeah, ultimately, I can't really go against a grappler. Being a grappler myself, and as big and strong as Usman is, I think if he can get a hold of Masvidal, I think he's able to control it. And I honestly see him grinding out a decision, just based on that wrestling pressure and keeping him down, holding him down.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think that Usman's not going to be able to take Masvidal down. So I've kind of come to the conclusion he's going to be able to take Masvidal down. The question is he going to be able to get back up, and is he going to be able to still have energy to stay on the feet? Masvidal's cardio is great, but going against a grappler, it's a whole different thing. And Usman, I'm super high on Usman because I was super high on Colby, and I know it doesn't really MMA math isn't a thing, but I thought Colby would beat Usman for sure, and Usman, it was close, but Usman ended up TKOing him, and now going in against Masvidal, I think Usman's gonna have a pretty dominant victory, but at the same time, you look at everything Masvidal's done. I remember going to get my phone died when Till versus Masvidal, and then when it restarted, you texted me and you're like, I can't believe this, and I'm like, what happened? Like something crazy? Like 'cause I never expected Masvidal to beat Till. I never expected Masvidal to beat Askren, so it's hard to kind of completely count
That's
him
true.
out, you know?
I was also one who thought Askren was gonna wrestle for 3 rounds and get his hand raised, and couldn't have been more wrong.
And definitely wasn't a fluke. Masvidal was training that actual move in the back. So it's hard for me to count him out. He can definitely piece him up, but at the same time, Usman has a chin on him, you know?
Mhm.
So I think Masvidal's going to throw. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think he's going to throw everything at him. Of course, he wants that title. It's going to be a super interesting fight. I got to give the edge to Usman, but don't blink.
I agree. You never know with when you look at Masvidal's 3 fights since he came back. He started the Darren Till fight. He comes out and does a jumping kick. I think he kicked him in the dick, so it didn't work out. But then the next one, he does a sprinting flying knee and knocks him out. Then against Diaz, he fakes it. So I don't know. Maybe he'll come out with those like Verdum did on Travis Brown, where he runs out and jump kicks him in the face. I don't know, something.
What if Masvidal just comes out and tries the knee again? That'd be so funny.
Dude, if he hit it again, he might have to retire on the spot.
Dude,
To do after that.
imagine putting Usman to sleep. Like, then it's just like the Conor fight or leave. That's it.
Yeah, basically.
So I was kind of thinking about this. If he does beat Usman, I mean, that would be the biggest fight in history, Conor Masvidal. I know you don't like it, but I'm just saying, I think that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I still want to see Masvidal and Colby just because I think that would be an awesome fight. I think it would be super easy to sell because Colby can obviously talk. Masvidal's got one of the biggest names in the sport. There's the rivalry, best friends turned into haters. I don't know. I would love to see that also because it's just interesting. I think obviously Colby's style revolves around wrestling, but unlike Usman, it's a very much more fast paced, I'll let you up just to throw a couple of shots at you, then take you back down, as opposed to just holding you down and laying on you. I think that's a super fun fight. And if Masvidal wins, I don't see him making it without Colby getting a win, but man, I would love to see that one.
Yeah. Well, I do. I see that fight being made because Leon is on a ridiculous streak, but you can't deny that Colby and Masvidal would sell so much better. So, although at the same time, it's the Masvidal effect. Like, you can put him against a trash can, and he'd probably sell pay-per-view buys. So, I think it's interesting if he ends up getting the win. I'm certainly not counting him out, but I'm not betting on him.
Yeah.
So, any other concluding thoughts? This is a ridiculous card. It's going to be so exciting to watch.
Absolutely. This whole Fight Island month of July, it's going to be sweet. There's a ton of, I absolutely love those. You want to go Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. That's my favorite thing in the world. I wish that was every single weekend.
And then the Contender Series come back in August. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard as well. And did you hear about Paulo Costa and
The Ultimate Fighter?
they're supposed to be doing tough?
Dude, that's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be – if they make that happen, that would be must-see TV.
But then how long does that take to film? How long would that put off the fight?
See, that I'm not aware. The other thing is I don't know where they intend on doing it. If they intend on doing it in Vegas, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. And it doesn't really seem to be confirmed other than Joe.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love that. I think
Yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense keeping everybody in one house, like after they're all tested. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. So that'd be super exciting. There's a lot of good fights to come. August is going to be stacked. I think they just announced Zabit and Yair.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that fight
That's
is
what
going
I'm
to be
saying.
absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
Is that the main
for
event?
sure. I think it's rumored to be. I don't know if it's confirmed yet or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that fight is nuts. I'm excited to see Zabit in a 5-rounder, though, because Yair's done it a lot of times, but it's different for Zabit. You've kind of seen his gas tank kind of run out. So, tons of fights. We're going to come back to you guys with the breakdowns for all these fights, especially Darren Till versus Rob. Make sure you get your dip to watch that. And thank you guys for watching. Stay safe.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys. God bless.
I know why they ain't know me, so I switch spots. Now we're running out of fuel, so fuck a pit stop. I've been ballin' since a youngin', so I take shots. She just wanna fuck me 'cause she know I